To make sure it's okay. Great, it's working. So before we get started, let's maybe just go around and introduce ourselves. Once again, my name is Anna Hackett. I'm the Campus Engagement and Instruction Librarian at Granby University in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm a member of the ACRL ULS Outreach Committee. So we just want to go around, talk about who you are, where you're from. If there's any fun facts you want to throw out there, go for it.
I'll start. Hi, my name is Megan Benson, and I'm an instructional outreach librarian at Binghamton University, located in Binghamton, New York. We're right on the border of Pennsylvania. And a fun fact, I was the manager of my college football team.
Excellent. Nice. So I should really quickly interject. If you are not speaking, if you could mute your microphone. Sometimes Google will pick up the weird background noise, and then it kind of goes this weird roulette thing with the camera as it tries to pick up everybody. So yeah, when you're not speaking, just go ahead and mute your mic. Right now, we're just doing introductions for those of you who just joined us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maria Ottolano, and I am the Student Outreach Librarian at the University of North Florida in Jacksonville. And I do our outreach specifically for students. I also do our marketing and promotion for on campus.
I'll go ahead. I don't know where I was. I'm sorry I was late. Hello, my name is Alyssa Archer. I am an instruction librarian at Radford University in Southwest Virginia. And I do kind of wear a lot of hats. So I think I try to streamline most of the faculty outreach, but then I do a little bit to students as well as some programming like our human library. And we're doing an MLK Day of Service camp on Monday, things like that. So I'm really excited for this conversation. Thanks.
I'm Ashley McMullen, and I am the Assistant and Marketing Librarian at DePaul University in Chicago. So I am involved with marketing to any of our potential users, students, faculty, and staff. And I also co-chair our Programming and Engagement Committee. So I'm hoping that this will be really useful, kind of tying in those two pieces together.
Hi, my name is Luke Josette. I'm a reference and instruction librarian at Augusta University. I wear a lot of hats, and one of those is serving on our marketing committee. And one of my responsibilities of that marketing committee is co-overseeing the social media for the library. So we do a lot of different things in that marketing committee. Yeah.
All right, is there anyone who hasn't introduced themselves at this point? Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm hoping today we'll have a really good conversation, just talking about what we've done in the past, what we're planning for the future, any ideas that we have. If you didn't hear the warning earlier, this is being broadcast on YouTube Live. So if there's anything you really want your boss or your coworkers to hear, be aware of that. I can't imagine, once again, we'll get too controversial today, but just something to be aware of. So let's go ahead and just start off. When you hear the term marketing or outreach, what do you think of? Seems like a very simple concept, but when you actually start thinking, what is it? It feels more complicated.
For me, it's definitely a matter of advocating. So advocating for the use of library services and resources. And for me, that's specifically to students on campus. Sorry for the phone.
Building off what Maria said, I like how she said advocating for the use of resources. I think we hear a lot, oh, had I known about this program, or had I known about this service, that would have helped me out a couple of years ago, or something like that. And then I think it's also advocating to universities decision makers, stakeholders, and administrators about why why it matters and why the impact, why our services and programs have an impact on students and retention and all kinds of good stuff like that.
Yeah, I really like this approach of looking at it as advocacy, because I think sometimes we get really hung up with marketing equals fancy visuals, or marketing equals let's make a viral video, and that's how we're going to get people actually come to the library, to come to our programs. I feel more comfortable with thinking about it as advocacy, because it sounds like we're actually more talking about our values and how we're of use. Does anybody else want to add anything to this question?
Yeah, just definitely building up on all that, which is really good. Just engaging with our users, for example, via social media. You know, just kind of having that other level of engagement that you might not necessarily get. And then just having that active kind of presence, both on campus and online. So yeah, this is a kind of a different way of outreach.
Yeah, I think it's important to be visible beyond just the library space. And so I've been trying to do that a lot this semester. I started in August, and we went to University Fest, we went to some admissions fair stuff, and just started to get outside of the library and interacting and engaging with people in that way too.
Yeah, I think that question of being visible is always so important. I think even now, people still have this idea of the library is the quiet place on campus. It's the building with the books. That's so frustrating. With that in mind, I do want to open up to a different question. We are going to talk today about the things you've done that you really liked. But I kind of want to start off today by actually talking about your marketing fails. We all have those moments where, like, we put the work in, we do the research ahead of time. This is not a question of laziness, but just the thing doesn't work. So, but I think that it's really nice to actually learn from those kind of things. So actually, I'll start off. I've got many marketing fails that I could talk about. But the one that really comes to mind was actually not my institution, but another institution in Des Moines that will remain nameless. But this was not actually their library. This institution, their name starts with a D. And I was at one of their basketball games the other day, and they were really trying hard with a lot of outreach, trying to reach out and be like the cool part of campus. So they started something called the Double D Awards. Not stopping to think that double D in American conversation often means something different. So it became like this whole big joke on campus that, oh, this institution with its Double D Awards. But what they did is they kind of turned it around, and they made it part of the joke, but also they kind of used that to kind of draw students in to their outreach opportunities. Once again, this wasn't library exclusive. It was actually the entire campus kind of working together on this. So did you ever have anything, and I can talk a lot about things I've actually done as well. I don't mean to slop it off on another institution. But is there anything you've done where either you're trying to be funny, or maybe you had the research indicated this would work, but it didn't? What are your marketing fails? And what did you learn from them?
So I was working at another institution, and I posted a picture of students sledding, and I got a DM from our larger university communications department, and they said, you have to take this down. Sledding is dangerous. And I was freaked out. I thought I was going to be in so much trouble because I had a picture of kids enjoying a snow day that we happened to have. And so basically I learned that I should just think an extra half a second to don't post live things if it's going to be some sort of liability for the university, because I think that's what their larger concern was. Not that sledding is terrible, but that like if somebody had gotten hurt, we could have been liable somehow. So yeah, don't post pictures of kids sledding at that particular university. So I'm relatively new to this position, so I don't have a whole lot of experience, but that was the one that really stuck out for me.
So I think what you said, and then what this comment on the side about having inclusive decision making, having people on board, both of these swords really get at relationships. I don't think I would have ever anticipated either that just posting a picture of students sledding would be an issue, but and I don't think you could have guessed that that would happen either. That sounds like a very, very standard but fun way of doing marketing. But I think it does speak to the necessity of talking to other people and maybe having a good feel for what other parts of the campus might actually think about this. So does anybody, can you think of a time when your relationship with other people on campus or other entities on campus influenced your marketing, or maybe the failure to have that relationship did it negatively impact your marketing?
Partnership is a huge thing for us in not only marketing, but outreach events as a whole, because we do a lot of collaboration. So anytime we don't partner with people, I always feel almost like nagging at the back of my head, well, what could we have done differently if we had their resources or their connections? And every time we do connect with them, whether it's to help them share something on social media, or they help us share something, but also co-hosting an event is always huge. So we are doing events with our dining services on campus, and you wouldn't think, food, the cafeteria, and then the library, but no, every time. And they're super supportive, and we're supportive of their things. We have email chains that go back and forth. We have meetings where we talk about who's doing what. So it's also this comfortable sort of thing of, we need food for our event, let's reach out to the cafeteria. Maybe we could do something with them. And knowing that we have that open dialogue is just always really helpful.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, kind of similar deal, because I do have a relationship with the so in my reference and instruction role, I'm also liaison to the Department of Teaching and Leading, which is within the College of Education, and I developed like a relationship with a PR person of that, and I would forward her, events and that the library is doing. Like I asked her actually, basically on my first week, I met her just by chance, and I asked her, how can what are the best ways of getting any events that I would like to advertise, on behalf of the library, to the department or to the College of Ed. And she's like, forward them to me, and I will, and I will post them on our social media channels, or I will forward them to, the entire College of Ed, or to a particular group like the faculty. And so yeah, that's kind of like one kind of relationship. And then she actually formed a kind of like a community of practice sort of thing on campus of other marketing, of other PRs, or not every college has a PR, so that they might have like a person that does the social media for the department or something like that, and kind of form this community of practice where we also now we follow each other on all the social media channels, for example, and we'll share and retweet if we find it's going to be relevant to our audience, and just basically support each other that way.
Yeah, I really like this issue of how a chance meeting can lead to a new partnership on campus. When I was at commencement, so last fall, I happened to stand next to somebody, and as we were filing that I didn't know, so I introduced myself, and it turned out she was our coach of our new esports program. It's a whole new program at my institution. And we got to chatting, and she was talking about some of the challenges she was seeing. And one of the issues she had was that her students weren't studying. They didn't have a space. It's like, well, there's a library for that. So now they come in once a week to do a study table, and I'm kind of assigned, I'm like their librarian. I hang out near them and kind of chaperone, not really, just make sure they're kind of on topic. And they've also started now reaching out to me even when they're not there for their study table, is just to ask questions about research. And one of them said, "I didn't realize you did this." And it is always kind of that thing when you get that kind of comment from a student, you're like, this is basic reference work. It makes me kind of sad that you didn't know how to do it. So that tells me that we need to do more outreach on campus, just to say, yes, we do offer these services. So does anybody else have like a chance meeting that led to a new relationship that helped you do outreach on campus?
Yeah, that chance meeting, that kind of came from me. It was like Augusta University is in Augusta, Georgia, and we have this like Taste of Augusta kind of thing on campus every year, and it's kind of like where vendors will come from outside in the community, and but it's not just vendors. Then other people on campus will also have like a little booth kind of thing. And that's sort of how I kind of met her, by going to this event and wandering around and then like discovering, oh wow, she's a PR for the College of Ed, and introducing myself and what I do. So I personally find, trying to attend different, when I can, within my schedule, trying to attend different events on campus, get yourself out of the library. You never know who you could meet, especially events that are kind of, relevant to your area if you're a liaison for something, or just a general event like that one.
Yeah, getting out of the library building is so important, because you are the best marketing tool the library has, just you in person. So what I'm hearing as we have this conversation is the importance of relationships, the importance of being out of the library and making those connections. So who are your partners on campus for marketing outreach library services?
I think for us, we've been really lucky in that in conversations with their university relations, they get the kind of the direct line between what the library provides and student success and retention. That wasn't something that we had to explain to them. That was just something that they got, which was different, right? But really cool too. And so it's led to some good kind of leaning on their expertise for how to talk to students who may not be library users on campus, and just just having their feedback and perspective, and being able to work with them on our shared objectives has been really helpful. And I'd say that change came, even the 2 directors ago. The first and second director of the University Relations both kind of were people that the advocacy work came easily for. We didn't really even have to have that conversation about our shared interests, which is cool.
We are huge into partnerships and relationships, especially for finals week, because we reach about 3,000 students with our different events, and we couldn't do that without our partners. So see if I can rattle some off. Our campus life department is really active. They have different events each day of the week, it seems like. And then they also do big kickoff events, the beginning and the end of the semesters. So we're involved with all of that. I mentioned dining services. We also have a student group. Our mascot is the Osprey. So we have a group that's called Healthy Ospreys, and they've done sponsored group study rooms for us. They've done snack events for us during finals week. We work with our military and veterans group on campus. They also do snack events, and we do lunch and learns with them. Athletics, I mentioned in a comment, we have a sort of study program with them where we bring the athletes over to study in the library. Tutoring, so there's a lot of different things, a lot of different people, but anybody can be a potential partner. It's just a matter of finding out what you can do for them, but also what they can do for you. So I've kind of honed my, oh, I noticed you're doing this. Well, would you like us to do that? And while we're there, we can talk about library stuff. So there always has to be this sort of idea of tit for tat for outreach and specifically relationships, because you don't want to just give away all your things and not get anything in return. But you also have to keep in mind that it's a positive, iterative relationship. So you have to keep them coming back, but also keep bothering them to come back as well.
I don't know if Kim is able to use her microphone, but over here in the comments, she is at Columbia College Chicago, which I think we have someone from DePaul here as well. Yes, I actually went to Loyola, so we were just down the road from both of you. She says that they have developed a great relationship with new student programs so that they are included in new story orientations, Convocation, and Manifest, which is a celebration around the beginning and end of every year, and other college-wide events. And yes, I see no mic or video, but thank you for your comment in the sidebar here. So we have new students from Kim, and then athletics, tutoring, military veterans, dining services, campus life, university relations. I think one of you said there anybody can be a partner. What are other partners people have used?
Well, at DePaul, we have had, we also have several, but I would say some of the biggest ones that we've had, similar thinking about stress relief for finals, we partner with our Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. They bring together, our Ray Meyer Fitness Center, campus dining, and some of the other groups to put on like a big calendar of events across the campus that students can attend to kind of unwind for finals. So it's been really helpful in terms of raising awareness of the things that we're doing. We also get brought in a lot from our Office of Student Involvement. So it's really great to, once you can get on their radar, any events that they're hosting or helping student organizations host that has anything to do with books at all, we're now totally invited. So like they did a Harry Potter event in the fall and it was really well attended. The nice thing about those is that they're student driven events. So if you get invited to them, you already have the audience there, and they were so excited. We did like little custom Harry Potter button making that they could do, and we brought in a collection of books, and it was great. So OSI has been a big one for us. And then the other one that I think is a little unique is our Studio Chi, which is our digital humanities group on campus, has been a really nice partner. Luckily for us, they're located in the library. But it's created a lot of really good opportunities, especially around outreach to faculty. We're doing a research meet and greet series where they're getting faculty together across different departments to talk about the research and creative work that they're doing. So it's been really nice to try to set up the library as this sort of collaborative space that's department neutral. And they've been a really good partner in getting that going.
I've also partnered with the transportation services. We were involved in Parking Day, where they took a parking lot and made it into a park-like space. And one of my colleagues made cornhole, and we put one of the library logos that had a magnifying glass, and we cut it out, and that was the hole for the cornhole. And so yeah, transportation services was an unusual one, but it worked out really well.
I love that idea of partnering with groups that you wouldn't normally think, like transportation services. Is that like basically on-campus transportation? What is covered by transportation services?
Yeah, so I think it was like the campus transportation services, so that covers the people who cover parking, the buses that will take kids off campus to some of the apartments and whatnot. I think it's a fairly encompassing office.
I would have never even thought of reaching out to them. That's awesome. Looks like Kim has something. They also do De-Stress Fest the week before finals. Informal programs, setting out games and materials for drawing. Therapy dogs with Canine Therapy Corps, which is the most popular event. Therapy dogs, always the most popular event, always. So those of you who do things like therapy dogs or other events, are these partnerships still on campus, or are you making these partnerships with groups off campus? I imagine there's going to be a lot of differences between our bigger schools who are represented in this group versus our smaller schools. Because Grandview, we had to reach out to third parties to get that service.
Yeah, we do therapy dogs during our finals week as well, and that's an off-campus partnership. It kind of got established before I got here. Yeah, I'm not too sure when, but yeah, we can rely on them. So far for the last several years, we've relied on them to come on campus, and it's been so nice. And yeah, with finals, yeah, we also partner with the Student Life and Engagement to advertise for us, kind of thing, and that's been really nice too. But yeah, we did try partnering with some other departments. So it was very interesting to hear about partnering with the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. We've got a major health science. We've got a health sciences campus on the liberal arts, I guess, campus. We have tried partnering in the past with, you know, another department. It kind of didn't really end up working out. But it is nice to hear that other departments, other people it has worked out well with.
So with this diverse range of partnerships that we've been talking about here, how has partnering with these different groups on or off campus affected how you market your programming?
I think that, and I think I should mention, I don't know if anyone did mention Center for Diversity and Inclusion yet. That's really important too, especially for us. We're not a very, I guess, inclusive staff. But I think it's changed in that everyone has a certain amount of bandwidth, and I think everyone at our institution right now is kind of realizing that you can only squish so many things into the daily calendar of events, right? And that we've kind of reached this point of dwindling returns, so to speak, if there is such a glut, right? Of research kind of events and these kinds of events and all kinds of stuff, that it's way better if we just kind of partner and do awesome stuff together than just divide up and no one has a really well-attended event, right? So I think that's been a big thing to come out of it, is just let's all try to work together. So we schedule around each other and we coordinate when possible, right? Which has been very, very helpful. I think that lots of people are on the same page with that, which I appreciate. And then just the different perspectives that you get. I think, I can't remember if it was Megan who mentioned that, or Maria, about the perspectives that were coming in with the cafeteria, right? And how they have a very different perspective on what outreach means to them, and some really successful strategies.
I definitely agree about the scheduling, because we have, like I said, a very active campus life department, but student activities and student affairs are just super active, and there's something going on each day. So we don't want to schedule something that's going to mess up somebody else's event, and vice versa, because I know we've had an event that was a huge issue for us.
Oh, I think
which is usually our most popular night. Student government scheduled a pancake breakfast right outside the library. So all the students were leaving the library in droves to go get their pancakes. And we're standing there with free coffee and snacks going, why is this happening? Because student government did an announcement. They did nothing ahead of time. We had no idea this was happening. They just showed up and did it. So I sent a really very professional email to their person who does their scheduling and said, next semester, let's do something different. Let's work together. And then last semester we did free pancakes and coffee in the library, and we had over 500 students come, and it was fantastic. So just working together can really, I mean, it increases your reach. They do all the work. They paid for all those pancakes. We didn't have to do it. So every time we partner with somebody, there's always a cost savings. And for finals week this last semester, we only spent $300, but we reached 3,000 students with our events. So all that's down to partnerships, all that's down to people bringing us stuff, buying us stuff, working with us, because we are the place to be. We're the library. That's where everybody is during finals. So, I mean, I can only talk about partnerships with just glowing things. Yes, there's always going to be issues. Communication will always be an issue, but it's better to work it out than it is to just go it alone.
Yeah, I think this question of scheduling and bandwidth is so important, especially with the sending out the emails to remind. At Grandview, we have the all campus listserv, which is you have to opt out of it. Anyone can email every single person on campus anytime they want. I don't know. I would love to be a fly on the wall in the meeting when they thought that was a good idea. But the problem is, like, it's really nice as the person who does library outreach, okay, now I can email everybody on campus about this, but so can the dozen other people who have events going on. So students tend to stop reading those emails when they come out. So during finals, when I'm trying to talk about library events, Student Life is also talking about their events, and Campus Ministry is talking about their events. So we have this issue with scheduling where we tend to overwhelm students at certain times semester. On the other hand, certain people on campus do have access to the all students listserv, which they cannot opt out of. So we want to reserve that for the important stuff so they don't stop reading those emails as well. So the question becomes, how do we choose when to try to get on the all student listserv versus how are we going to schedule with everybody else on campus to not overwhelm them with the all campus listserv? Anybody else have things about scheduling or partnerships that they want to talk about? So when we talk about marketing also, there always comes up issues with copyright. Where I went to grad school, the library school did these wonderful advertisements for library school events that were memes. Like they had the images from TV shows or whatever's popular on the internet at any given point in time. And that's so wonderful, but it's so easy to get that copyright problem when you do that. If you want to reach students with what's popular, how are you making sure you can actually use that thing? So has anybody run into copyright issues when they're trying to do their visuals with their marketing?
I haven't yet personally, but I mean, I was thinking for the whole, I mean, for those libraries that do that, wouldn't that come under, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, in case you can't tell by my accent, I'm originally from Australia. So copyright regulations are a little different there. But wouldn't that kind of come under like a fair use thing? Because you're in a library, you're advertising to, you know, an academic population, you know, non-profit, you know what I mean? Like things like that. And especially like if you attribute, for me, I always use free, like Creative Commons type images or things that require no attribution, like from Pixabay and things like that. But I mean, I have seen memes out there and things like that, and I thought, wouldn't that kind of come under a fair use? I'm not sure.
I think it's supposed to. There have been issues in the past with Disney and HBO using all their money to not want even academic institutions to use their images. And I mean, you really want to argue with Disney's lawyers over market for like a program. But yeah, you're right. It should come out of fair use. So we've got some people commenting in the comments about where they get free materials. So Pixabay and Wikimedia Commons. Does anybody have any other places that they go to get use?
Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S. Yeah, that's another free one. If you go to Flickr and you do a Creative Commons search, there's a whole ton of images that people put there. Beautiful photographs that people have licensed under Creative Commons attribution.
Does anyone else have any resources they want to share on that topic? Okay, so on that note, is there a particular tool, it can be an online tool, it can be a physical tool, whatever, or strategy that you really wanted to try out with marketing that you haven't been able to do yet?
I really want to do a Snapchat filter. I don't want to do Snapchat at all, but I think having a filter, and so I chatted with my university social media person last week, and they've had trouble getting the free version approved by Snapchat, and so they pay for it occasionally. So I'm going to try to see if, as the library, if I can get the free approved one as a nonprofit, but if not, we might do a pay for a, like during finals week, have a finals week filter on Snapchat.
I've been meaning to for years, but I haven't used Hootsuite or anything else to manage social media. And we've got a lot of different librarians kind of feeding into the different channels. So I think that's something, well, it's not I think, it's a goal that I wrote for myself this year, is to finally experiment with the different social media managers. Beyond Hootsuite, I know there's a free version for a couple of social media platforms. Is there anything else that people like? Oh, Buffer? Maria, do you like Buffer better than Hootsuite?
I like the simplicity of Buffer, and it's also Hootsuite has like a whole timeline thing, and it's just so overwhelming. And I just needed a place where my staff member and I could schedule things and not step on each other's toes. And it works with Instagram, which we wanted to be able to schedule Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And when you write something, you can customize it for each of the different platforms. So that way I could say, I want to use these hashtags on Instagram, but I want to use this emoji on Twitter, and be able to have the same image or video playing. It is fantastic. And while I'm talking, my goal is to schedule things out for the whole year for events, but also major social media things. So if I know, for example, we're doing an event, we are, because we do a big Halloween thing, then I want to have the social media thing scheduled way in advance, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm sitting there in costume trying to do a boomerang or something during the event. I don't want to deal with that anymore. So I just want to plan more ahead with outreach and with the marketing itself this year.
Yeah, we use Buffer as well. We were using Hootsuite, and Hootsuite before was free, like completely, but then I noticed they started doing a free only for the first 30 posts. At least that was my experience. Free for the first 30 posts. So Buffer at the moment, at least, knock on wood, is completely free, kind of thing. Otherwise, we would have had to pay a subscription to continue with Hootsuite. And yeah, I do also like Buffer for exactly the same reasons. Yeah, it's great. You can customize things.
So it sounds like we've started talking about social media a little bit. Does anybody have like a set, you've written up, here's our social media strategy, I see some people nodding. If you want to tell us more about that, that's something that we're looking to develop at my library right now.
So we have a social media plan and guidelines document. It is 12 pages long. It is very inclusive. I update it every year. It focuses a lot on our voice because there's multiple people who run the accounts. So it's a matter of how do we interact with people, specifically students, but other people, what is expected of us and what is the purpose of it. So we don't treat our social media as a billboard. It's not a matter of saying we have an event, here's a flyer. We have another thing, here's a flyer. We use it mostly for engagement. So there's a big emphasis on social listening, which is actually actively listening to what people are saying about us on social media. So we do a lot of crisis communication things where if a student, for example, has an issue or they see somebody smoking in the building or they're finding bottles of beer on the 4th floor, but they post about it on social media rather than telling anybody in the library, we can assess that and bring it up the chain. So it's, yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about social media as my 12-page plan shows for it. But yeah.
Does anybody else have a social media plan they would like to talk about? It sounds like the 12-pager seems to be the thing we shall be aspiring to, that we will have that much command over our social media. So
we're exactly like you. We're working on it right now too. We're working on ours as well.
Okay, brilliant. So what's guiding your process and working on your guide?
Well, I'm supposed to write it up because I'm on the marketing committee, like I said, and yeah, I'm sort of supposed to write, and kind of what's guiding me at the moment, I guess, are our current processes, but definitely trying to think of the bigger picture of the kind of issues that can come up. I think it was really great having that kind of idea of, how to deal with those kind of, negative comments, for example, on social media. So far, we haven't had to deal with any of that, but maybe one day we will. So things like that. But yeah, I don't know. Also, I think putting a disclaimer, some kind of thing on our social media as well, because I think that's kind of important too. But yeah, I don't know, just kind of current processes and what has currently been working out for us and things like that. And communications within the library and communications with people that interact with it. How about you? What's guiding yours?
So we're just currently thinking about having a guide. It needs to be going through multiple people. Bureaucracy. There's really two things that have been guiding or been pushing us towards this. And first of all, we should have a unified voice on social media. Right now, it really does look like a bulletin board. Like, this is happening in the library. This is happening in the library. Here are hours during Christmas break. So we need that unified voice. We need to agree what kind of sense of humor we're willing to have on social media. I've discovered people have different types of sense of humor, and sometimes they don't appreciate what your sense of humor is. The other thing that happened last semester, we had reports of a shooter on campus. It turned out there was nothing happening. It was a false report. But in the period that we were on lockdown, we didn't know whether or not we can put that on our social media that the library is on lockdown. So that's not just a library thing, that's a whole campus thing because nobody knew what can you put on your social media. So, hopefully for all of our libraries, that never happens, that kind of crisis comes up. I'd much rather deal with the crisis like a kid is drinking beer on the 2nd floor. But should that happen, we need to have that kind of decision made in advance. Is anybody else thinking about how to use their social media? what types of social media are people using? Because right now we just have a Facebook. I really want a Twitter account. There's been pushback on that from people. But I've heard people mention Snapchat. I know Instagram is a really big deal. What types? You can either put it in the comments or you can just say it, whatever. And what your favorite one is as well. I've noticed that a lot of archives use Instagram. I think that's really, really cool because you have so many cool things there that you can use. Twitter. Before I was at Grandview, I was at the University of Idaho and was on the communication committee that monitored the library Twitter account. And we had Potato Fact Tuesdays because we're in Idaho. And it was always our most popular thing. We would just post potato facts and jokes on our Twitter account all day on Tuesday. People really loved it. Is there anything goofy you do on your social media, like Potato Fact Tuesdays, that seems to get a lot of attention?
For Halloween, to help promote our event, we did a social media campaign with a life-size skeleton. So we posted him around the library, and then we had people guess where in the library he was doing things. And he was wearing a library polo shirt, and his name was Bob T. Skeleton, Bob the Skeleton. And so I posted, and I used this buffer. I scheduled every single day, where's Bob the Skeleton? And students had to guess correctly where he was to enter in to win a contest. And the contest was a plastic pumpkin with a Starbucks card and a bunch of other goodies in it. But that got so many views. I couldn't believe how many people were like really invested in where the skeleton was. But some people didn't understand. They went to the spot where they thought the skeleton was. They thought they had to find him. So if I do this next year, I'll make it clear, like, he's not there anymore. He was just there for one day as we did photo ops. So just comment. But we got a lot of followers. We got a lot of really cool, fun comments. Some really wise, cracking students. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think social media is really great when you can get that personal touch. Like, here's our life-size skeleton. Go find him. I know mascots, if you can use your mascot on your social media, that's really popular. Drake, which is one of the institutions near me, their mascot is a bulldog. And in fact, the university adopts a bulldog. That's just like, it's their bulldog. So his job is just basically to go around campus all day. He needs a trained therapy dog. So he does hang out in the library, and they do campaigns like, find Griff, where's Griff? Or come cuddle with Griff down in this room. And it's just kind of like a lightning advertising thing. It happens, whoever can get there says hi to Griff, and then it's done. And it seems to work really, really well for them. So if you could do anything with social media, what would you do? Like, can you think of any like fun campaigns like that you would want to do? Or Megan asks, has anyone done a follow us campaign or something similar?
Not at my current institution, but back when I worked in Australia, at one of the universities I worked there, there was a team, I wasn't involved in it, but they did like a scavenger hunt for students for like an orientation type scavenger hunt slash barbecue, because Australians love a good barbecue. And part of the scavenger hunt was like us on Facebook. Or follow us on Twitter, and if they did this scavenger hunt, then they'd be entered into a draw to win a prize. So it was a follow us campaign, but it was a lumped into a larger general scavenger hunt kind of thing for the library. But yeah, we got a lot of likes that way, and it was really cool.
So I see Maria says that her institution, their cafeteria, did a follow us campaign where if you followed them, you get a free drink or something. I wonder what freebies libraries could offer. Like my institution doesn't really charge library fines unless like you've lost the book. so it'd be hard for us to do, follow us and get $1 off your fines or something. But I wonder what we could offer.
And there's always swag. I mean, students will do a lot for a free bookmark or a cozy or anything. So I was thinking it could be as easy as that, but would they actually do it? So then another thing might be if we worked with our bookstore and got UNF stuff, then maybe they would donate things, which they have before. And then we can do, get a license plate or get a mug or something. But that would take a lot of time and use up some goodwill when we could be using that free stuff for something else. So I don't know. I'd have time to think about it.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how far students will go just to get free stuff? It's not even the stuff that they want. Like we had a drawing for like a $5 gift card to the bookstore, which will get you like a pencil and like a Snickers bar. That's all it will get you at the bookstore. But we had hundreds of people enter because they wanted the free thing. It wasn't that they wanted to go spend money at the bookstore. They just wanted the free thing that we were giving away. All right, so we've got just a few more minutes left. So I just wanted to open this up. What marketing things are coming up or even programs coming up that you are excited about? Oh, and Maria brings up the egg. Yes. Has everyone seen this story about the egg? So if you haven't seen it, somebody posted a picture of an egg to Instagram and it got millions upon millions of followers. All it is a picture of an egg. That's all it is. So the whole question is, why the egg? If this had happened earlier, we could have done like a deep dive. Like, what can we learn from the egg in terms of gaining social media social media followers? So what's coming up in your libraries that you're excited about, marketing wise or even just programming wise?
Well, our special collections department, she's always, every now and again, she does like pop-up display or exhibit and stuff. And she's kind of like my biggest social media customer kind of thing. So she'll send me like a flyer to post on social media about that. So I'm always trying to help her out to post her events through social media, and we also email them to our liaison areas as well to get the word out. So I think there'll be more of that this year for us, in addition to our regular things like Finals Frenzy, that's our finals week, and other events that we do throughout the year.
Yeah, it seems like special collections is always a good way of getting attention because people like the idea that libraries have this cool room with stuff in it. It's like very Harry Potter room of requirement, but it's the special collections department. What else are people excited about that's coming up?
Well, at the moment, we are wrapping all our books for Blind Date with a Book. So that is kind of passive programming, but it's also a big deal because it promotes all of our collections. So many students don't even know we have books because we kind of hide them in the building. And our goal is to check out 315. We checked out 280 something last year. So it was pretty good. Also a lot of work, but worth it. And then we're also doing stuff for Research Week, which is a couple weeks before National Library Week on campus. So the library is doing a bunch of events for that. We've got Homecoming coming up next month. And then I'm already planning for finals week. So there's a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of good stuff.
So every semester, it's around finals week, we have a Pull Your Paper Together workshop, which is designed not for the students who have not started their papers, but for the ones that are like in the last stages. Let's do citation, formatting, graphs, all of the last stage steps of the project that you're working on. When I first did this workshop, we had 6 people show up, and the next time we had 16. And the last one we had like 28. So it's just like, I don't know what's, hopefully, I don't want it to grow it that much more because it's just me. But I'm really excited about it. It is one of those things that made students say, I didn't know the library did this, which once again, that's what we do. So it's such a cool thing, but also once again, a challenge to me to be like, okay, we need to think more about making sure people know that our library is an active presence, not just the building with the books in it. So anything else people are excited about?
One of my previous colleagues and I work with University Relations on kind of a plan, and we're rolling out banners. We have 6 colleges on campus that have kind of different focuses. So University Relations helped us come up with banners with questions that people might ask the librarian about that were tailored to questions that those colleges might look. So a different college, different question for the Center for the Sciences than for the humanities students, excuse me, and all on like that. So the banner should be here next week, and then hopefully we'll be able to really kind of do, based on the statistics, see if they make an impact on our chat usage. So I'm excited, yay!
That's a really cool program, I like that. All right, so closing thoughts. Anything that you want to talk about, share, ask questions about? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was once again broadcast on YouTube Live, so you can always go back and watch it again. You will be receiving a very short survey in the mail. All this what this does is just helps us, make sure that these are the best kind of roundtables that will serve you best. So otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope it's warm wherever you are, warmer than in Iowa anyway. And have a wonderful day. Bye.